This will be talking about 10 lead cars expected to be coming to Forza Horizon 5 very soon over the coming months and general updates. Now, of course, we've seen quite a lot of lead cars that I discussed in previous videos recently get added to the game, including the Bentley Flying Spur as one of the main ones, as well as other cars in Nissan Z Nismo 2024. Generally, our trends have been very accurate in terms of detecting new cars in the game files, new agreements with licensing for certain manufacturers, or general trends, or even some predictions in the mix as well, to make sure we get some hypothetical cars based off the top requested forums cars that are often actually turned or converted to being in the game through large community demand. So guys, let's go and get started with the first one, the Lamborghini Revuelto. Now, I've made quite a few videos in this car so far. This is one of the top contenders for a new Lamborghini to come to Forza Horizon 5, and I think it's highly likely. Now, when people first started buzzing about this car when it came out, probably almost a year ago, maybe a little bit less as a prototype at least before its proper release in real life, people were thinking this car might actually be delayed to be a car added for Forza Horizon 6. Whilst there's yet to be any proper news about Forza Horizon 6, it is very reasonable to suggest that Forza developers would definitely save some of the best car releases for this new game. They wouldn't want to put all their best and most hyped up supercars and hypercars in Horizon 5 when objectively the player base for this will be much smaller than Horizon 6 when it first releases. However, they need to keep their population, but at the same time, they need to make sure their player base is still enjoying their game, that they can make some cash off it in the meantime. So I think it's very possible the Revuelto will come out, as Horizon 6 is not likely to be coming out at least for 1 year, as we haven't really seen any sort of news about it. Next up, guys, of course, going to be the Audi R8 V10 Performance 2022. This car was added to the game files not too long ago. In fact, it believes there are actually some physics made for the car, meaning it's been partially mapped out for its release, which often doesn't happen unless it's very likely it will come to the game. It doesn't make sense to developers waste time making models of a car, preparing for its release in Horizon 5 if it isn't very likely it will be, and it doesn't seem like there's any indication with Audi it wouldn't be, unlike other manufacturers like Rolls-Royce or Tesla, where it's much less likely. Next up will be the Porsche Cayenne GT 2021, a very cool car in real life, one of which would definitely look very good with some of the Forza lineups, as there aren't too many super beefy or luxury with a mix of performance SUVs in the game, so the Porsche will definitely be a great addition in this regard. Next up, guys, we've got the 2023 Mustang Mach-E. This is a pretty cool car, of course, being electric, not always a fan favorite by the player base in Forza, but given the fact that it's a Ford, it's still a very cool car and looks very futuristic. So honestly, I wouldn't be too upset if this came to the game. However, there are probably a few other options I'd like before that on this list. Next up, guys, one of those cars that I would be talking about on this list I prefer to see first is going to be the Lamborghini Temerario 2025. Now, I definitely didn't pronounce that right, but you guys get the general underlying point. It's one of the newer Lamborghinis expected to come out, sort of a bit of a super session from that event store lineup, and this car will be very insane to go in and see added to the game. Now, there could be a bit of credibility in a car like this being saved for Horizon 6, because of course Forza will need a very cool looking car to be the game cover, but again, given how unclear it is when the game will probably be released, I can't say I'd be betting on that too strongly. But guys, regardless, we can expect this car could become a Horizon 5, whether it's in the next couple updates or maybe even 6 months down the line. With some of these lead cars, it often isn't too clear exactly when they will be released, but often they do just in due time. Next up, guys, we have the Honda S800, a bit of a mix from cars the prior Lamborghini I was just referring to, definitely an older one on the mix. This car has been quite highly recommended for a while. It'd be very cool if this came out with a nice JDM car pack as well to really kind of make it fit in with some of the cool customization on a lot of these other JDM cars we've seen added to the game recently, just like the Nissan Nismo Z 2024, which came of course with that wide body kit, and these kind of Hondas coming with the same customization would definitely make them a bit fun, especially for those players who aren't so much of a fan of these older cars, but then can still have a lot of fun customizing them, which you often don't see with cars like Lamborghinis or Ferraris. Now, next up on this list is going to be the Porsche Boxster S. This, of course, is referring to a newer model of this car, as the previous Porsche Boxster S is actually in the game from a while ago, but definitely not one of the more recent actual models. So it's a pretty cool car here. We've seen quite a few Porsches as of late, so it wouldn't be unlikely Porsche and Forza have come to some sort of licensing agreement for a lot of their new cars. We've seen the 911 GT3 RS, the 911 Turbo S, of course, both being the 992s, and these were cars I previously talked about being leaked for quite a long time, and they're eventually actually added to the game as well. Next up, we'll have the Shelby Mustang 1000. This will be a great addition to the game. We've got quite a lot of these Mustang and Shelby mixes in the game, but we haven't got one of these newer thousands, and this one would definitely be good for the lineup. Now, of course, it definitely is a little bit more enjoyable than some of these other cars we've seen added to the game recently. Now, in my opinion, it's probably not up to par with some of the other cars on this list, and it's definitely a little bit more exciting than the 2023 Mustang Mach-E at least, so I'd hope to see this Shelby coming up pretty soon. Next up, we got the Bugatti Tourbillon. This is another car we've seen. We often saw other Bugattis, like initially there was a previous one I can't quite remember what it was called, but I believe Ronaldo actually purchased it, and that was one that was leaked in the game for Forza Horizon 5 for quite a while, but never quite did eventuate to make it in game. We've got the Devo, we've got the Chiron, we've of course got the EB and all the ones with the Veyron, but a new Bugatti release has not come out for quite a while, and in my opinion would be very, very cool, as it could potentially be the contender for the quickest car in the game. Even though in real life the Tourbillon wouldn't be quicker than the Chiron, it still would be cool to have a little bit of competition for the Koenigsegg Jesko in game, as that's held the throne for being the quickest car for pretty much years, so getting some competition for that would definitely be cool to see. And the final car I'll be talking about in this video is of course going to be the Pagani Utopia. This is definitely a fan favorite, a very cool Pagani. We don't often see Paganis in real life or in Forza, so to see a car to Utopia make the cut would definitely be very exciting to see, and would help rejuvenate some of the hype in Forza from some of the older fan base who've taken a step back as of the last few updates. But I think in my opinion these last few updates have definitely been very good, much better than the early update 30s ones, where we saw some pretty dead recycle cars for quite a while. So comment down below your guys' thoughts on the cars in this list and what cars you want to see coming up to date. Drop a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, and stay tuned for more videos coming out soon.